Hi everyone, welcome to Storytime. Today we're going to be reading from two books, the first of which is Showway by Jacqueline Woodson. Showway by Jacqueline Woodson, illustrated by Hudson Talbot. When Suni's great-grandma was 7, she was sold from the Virginia land to a plantation in South Carolina, without her ma or pa, but with some muslin her ma had given her, and 2 needles she got from the big house, and thread dyed bright red, with berries from the chokecherry tree. In South Carolina, Big Mama raised Suni's great-grandma, raised most of the slave children on that large patch of land. At night, Big Mama told the children stories she'd tell in a whisper, about children growing up and getting themselves free. The children leaned in and listened real hard. And in the daytime, when there was some few minutes for a slave to rest a bit, Big Mama taught Suni's great-grandma to sew colored thread into stars and moons and roads, that slave children grew up and followed late in the night, a piece of quilt and the true moon leading them. Years passed. Big Mama moved on to the next world, and Suni's great-grandma grew up, jumped broom with a young man named Hensler. Had herself a baby girl, and named that child Mathis May. Loved that baby up so. Yes, she loved that baby up. And one day, Mathis May would be Suni's grandma, but not for a long, long time yet. In the meantime, she learned to sew. Beautiful girl child learned to sew. When Mathis May was 7, she got sold away. Took a star from her mama's blanket, took a little piece of the road, pressed it to her face when she wanted to remember back home, held it to her heart to feel back home, got herself a piece of muslin and some thread somewhere, and kept her sewing. Sewed so fine she was making clothes for everyone, in the big house and slaves too. And at night, she sewed stars and moons and roads, tiny patches, pieces of stars, and moons and roads. Slaves whispered what no one was allowed to say. That Mathis May knew how to make a showway. Came to her when they needed to talk, came to her for stories of brave people, came to her for the patch pieces just before they disappeared into the night. But Mathis May stayed on, grew tall and straight-boned, jumped broom with another slave. That slave was killed running off north of the war months before he got to meet his baby, a girl child who was born free that same year, 1863. History went and lost her name. Years later, Suni came. Suni's mama held her up in the moonlight night, showed her the stars, the moon, whispered into her ear, "There's a road, girl. There's a road." Loved that Suni up so. Yes, she loved that Suni up. Suni and her mama stayed on the land they'd always known, picking cotton for a little pay and a piece of ground to farm, called that land home. Stayed with other people, none of them slaves anymore. Hard work making life, from pink day to blue-black night, but it was a free life just the same. And when the day was finally over, it wasn't hard to find a thing or two to smile about. At night, they cut and sewed strange lines and odd designs. People said about Suni, that child could find some beauty in so many things. When Suni was 7, she was tall and straight-boned, like her mama. Took in wash with her mama, sewed stars and patch pieces, sewed stars and moons and roads, sewed fields and rivers and trees, patched the pieces together for her mama to sell come market day. Called those quilts Trails of the North. Called the quilts Showway. Didn't much need the secret trail to the north anymore, but started living well off the money those quilts brought in. Sewed those quilts to live, sewed those quilts to remember. And those some could book read, most could not. Stars and moons and rows, picture reading was what they had always known. Some mornings, Suni looked out over the fields of cotton and dreamed of a place to call her own. Married a man named Walter Scott, who owned a bit of land in Anderson, South Carolina. Had herself a baby girl. Named that girl child Georgina. Love that baby up so. Yes, they loved that baby up. Georgina, who grew tall and straight-boned and free, picking out words from her mama's Bible by 3, reading by oil lamp light at age 5. People say about Georgina, she always had a book in her hand. Grew up to teach at a small school in Anderson. Had herself 2 girls at once, named them Caroline and Anne. Loved those babies up so. Yes, they loved those babies up. And Caroline and Anne grew up tall and straight-boned, turned 7, walking in a line to change the laws that kept black people and white people living separate. They were a little bit scared sometimes, but pinned inside their dresses were Shoei patches Grandma Suni had given them, and something about those patches made Scared hang his head and walk away. Anne grew up writing poems, and sometimes she made the poems into songs. Caroline stitched the songs into art, and people bought it to hang on their walls. Anne had me, and Mama loved this baby up so. Yes, she loved this baby up. And when I was 7, I didn't have to work in a field, or walk in any freedom lines. But I still read like Georgina, and wrote like Anne. And when the words were slow in coming, I sewed the stars and moons and roads into quilts and curtains and clothes because Mama said, all the stuff that happened before you were born is your own kind of Shoei. There's a road, girl, my Mama said. There's a road. And I grew up, tall and straight-boned, writing every day, and the words became books that told the stories of many people's Shoeis. Had a baby, and named that child Toshi Georgina. Loved that Toshi up so. Yes, I love that Toshi up. So some mornings, I start all over, holding tight to little Toshi. I whisper a story that came before her. Now, Suni was your great-great-grandma, when Suni's great-grandma was 7. I'm sure that story will keep going on. Thank you so much for listening to that. That was Shoei by Jacqueline Woodson. Next up, we have Where Are You From? By Yamile Saeed Mendez, and illustrated by Jamie Kim. Where are you from? Where are you from? They ask. Is your mom from here? Is your dad from there? They ask. I'm from here. From today, same as everyone else, I say. No, where are you really from? They insist. I ask Abuela, because he knows everything. And like me, he looks like he doesn't belong. Where am I from? Abuela thinks. His eyes squint, like he's looking inside his heart for an answer. You come from the Pampas, he says. The open, free land, he says. You're from the Guacho, brave and strong. From the brown river that cleanses and feeds the lands, that gives us the grain for our bread, the milk from our cows. You're from the mountains so high they tickle Senor Celio's belly, where the condor roosts his family and the jaguar prowls at night. But you're also from the warm blue oceans the copper warriors tried to tame, and the elegant palm trees stretch their fingers to caress. You're from hurricanes and dark storms, and a tiny singing frog that calls the island people home when the sun goes to sleep. From this land where our ancestors built a home for all, even when they were in chains because of the color of their skin. You're from the grandmothers who search for their grandchildren, waiting, always waiting in a plaza, their white handkerchiefs wrapping the sorrow of their thoughts. You come from the sunshine that lights our path in this world, and the rain that washes away our mistakes. But Abuelo, I ask, where am I really from? Abuelo laughs. You want a place? He points to his heart. You're from here. From my love and the love of all those before us. From those who dreamed of you, because of a song sung under the Southern Cross, or the words in a book written under the light of the North Star. You? You're from all of us. I am. The end. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening, and we'll be back again next week.